It's a very thorny issue, and it's one of the biggest issues, like you said, for Nigerians right now, especially the fact that we don't have power is the one way we're able to run our lives. And then this rule, I don't know when it became illegal to take your jerry cans to filling stations, but it's become a thing now where people are carrying generators to filling stations, and you can even barely find the fuel. It's pretty ridiculous. But we're going to hang on to the May promise and see if that works out for us. But let's move on now to security. And we talked on the show a few weeks ago about the second year anniversary, even if it's not a celebration of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. And there's a lot of talk about the IDP camps and the situation in all of those places, and what should be happening going forward. We did see a picture circulate during the week about some people returning back to their homes, actually, in parts of northeastern Nigeria. Are you happy with the situation of the fight against insurgency in Nigeria right now?
Well, we have to give it to the current government. President Buhari has made effort to, put Boko Haram on the back foot. The partnership between Nigeria and the neighboring countries is working fine. We have a Nigerian Major General Lamidi, Major General Adeosun in charge of the multinational joint task force, in charge of that Lake Chad basin. We also have the Chief of Army Staff establishing another division to cover the Lake Chad area. And also we have some special forces training from the US, Britain, Russia. They are actually doing a good job securing the territories and displacing Boko Haram and trying to, let people come back to their normal lives. But they have to go, it has to be an all-encompassing program. When you take them back to their community, you have to put in place a working civilian administration. You have to talk about the health care needs. You have to talk about rebuilding the community. You have to talk about the water, the food. What are these people going to be returning to? And also the most critical aspect of this whole returning back to the reclaimed territories is this issue of security. Because if you don't provide security, if you don't provide a garrison for some of these communities, you still have the Boko Haram terrorists coming to harass these communities, just like what happened a few months ago in Dalori. A community that was left unattended, the IDPs were there, the villagers were there, and the Boko Haram sneaked in and, killed dozens of people, So the military has to also up their game in terms of counter-terror intelligence. But this whole issue of returning and this whole issue of fighting Boko Haram will never end until this issue of Chibok girls are resolved. I was discussing with my friend yesterday that the political leadership in Nigeria, lack empathy. There's this crisis of leadership that when you have the poor involved in a certain situation, you don't see the political leadership stand up to actually save the situation. I was making a fund that if you take Chibok girls, and replace them with the list of those CBN allegedly CBN lists that we have VIPs of Nigerians. If you take those VIPs and replace them with the children of those VIPs and replace them with the Chibok girls, I can tell you within 48 hours, those people will be rescued. But you see over 200 innocent children for the past 2 years, the entire leadership of Nigeria has failed them. And with this recent proof of life, we expect that the government use all state resources available to actually work on this proof of life and rescue these girls. The whole story about Boko Haram insurgency will never end or will never be so successful until we bring closure to the issue of Chibok girls. So far the military is doing a good job and we should give them that kudos.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll still be talking about the fight against security, zoning in on the Fulani headsman situation. Of course, the IPA will be down in the southeast. We'll see you guys in a moment. All right, welcome back. We're talking about the fight against security, and of course, it's not just Boko Haram we're dealing with in Nigeria today. We do have a serious unfolding situation across the country now, not just in one part, with Fulani herdsmen. And I want to come to you now, Kayode. Are we handling that right?
The Fulani issue in Nigeria, the herdsmen, I don't think we're handling it right. To me, it seems as if the Chibok girls, the Boko Haram issue is coming down and the Fulani issue is going up. I studied in Kano, and I've seen where you see herdsmen, you just think that these guys, they are going up with their cows, just tending them. They carry weapons, real weapons, some weapons that even police cannot, they don't even have enough of it. And you'll be surprised at where did they get it. So I had to make some inquiries. How did they get this? And say they can make an exchange of one cow for the weapon, in as much as the money is equivalent to each other, and they use it in protecting their herds. Fine. The average Fulani man believes that his own life is tied towards his cattle, but they have to protect their herds, really. The fact still goes down to the government. There's no security. So they're trying to get a little form of security for themselves and their cattle, because that's where they get their...
But now we're here to become attack, not just defense with them now. So
the fact is, governments have refused to make provisions for them. Most of these guys they are illiterate. They believe that their cattle is priority than any other person. And if they enter your farm, number one, you get a little bit irritated that I'm struggling to make sure that this thing is well tended to, it should fertilize and, go to the market and make gains out of it. And somebody will just come and
graze through
it, which is very bad. The government should be able to call the head of the Fulanis, the herdsmen, to order, and the farmers, and they should go
but the problem we've heard is that it's their lifestyle. They are nomadic by nature. So do we say stop moving? Do we say move this way? How is that going to work?
They call them to the table. They'll be able to settle it. The president is the national head of the Fulanis, the herdsmen. He should know who and who to talk to. He's the president's one. He even doubles as their life patron or whatever. So I believe he should know what to do. If he doesn't know what to do, he has to advise us. Because this thing, Boko Haram will come down, and the herdsmen go up, and that will be another Boko Haram for us to start attending to.
What you're going to say?
Well, the Minister of Interior, who is supposed to know, came out the other day to say, as the military displaced the Boko Haram terrorists from some of their camps and territories, they try to, mingle with the Fulani herdsmen and wreak havoc on some of these communities. We don't really know what is the true situation, but what we know is that there has to be a stop to grazing freely on people's land, because what you have now is that a situation where people are forming vigilantes against the Fulani herdsmen, and a situation where they might see a Fulani herdsmen and they open fire on them for coming onto their farm. So a lot of talk shops have been going on. They should stop talk shops and conferences and actually go to the solution. They know the solution. Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Speaking of solution now, one very sensitive issue that most people tend to shy away from is the independent people of Biafra, which is a movement that's down in the southeast. And clashes have slowed down recently, but the tension is still there, of course. We did see marches at some point a couple of months ago. The leader is still being held. What's the situation with that? Are you happy with the way government is handling it?
Well, the government, I saw a video on YouTube recently in Abia, somewhere in Abia State, where the members were having a prayer meeting, and the military descended and then shot tear gas, arrested some people. I don't believe they should use force to crack down on these people. Otherwise, they become more emboldened and, do worse that they're already doing. Some of them have taken this to be a religion. That, okay, we are being persecuted, we are being marginalized, and we need our own state. Every group in Nigeria is marginalized. People hide under various organizations and, try to express their grievances. But it is left for the government to use intelligence and negotiation and persuasion to engage them, not just cracking down on them. We cracked down on Boko Haram, the turnout was, the other time the military had some issues with the Shiites. You cannot use force to suppress an idea. They believe in an idea, and as long as their leader is in jail, they see him as somebody they look up to and all that. Government should, for me, as a government, use information and persuasion to manage the situation.
Well, thank you very much, Nnamdi. Thank you very much, Kayode. There's always a lot to talk about with Nigeria. I'm sure if we had another hour, we'll keep going. But thanks for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
We'll come back with more right here on Rubbin Minds. Please stay with us.